Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans, thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson, and I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction Renovation magazine. Oh, I got a little halo there. This is what it used to look like. I'm pulling out some archives. Let's see, this is May, June 2018. Pete Plamiton Jr., co-president. They're in the hospitality field. Another good-looking issue. Let's see, this was 192 pages. I always like seeing what I was doing way back when. I was actually at an axe throwing. We had a reception. I think this was up in Nashville. But anyway, we were all hitting the target. But always nice to hold the magazine, what it looked like way back when. But we're digital now and haven't looked back since. Just had 3.5 million people hit our website last month consuming content. It's just been an unbelievable ride. And thank you to all of you out there that find us on the web and our visitors and unique users and all that good stuff. So keep on coming back, and we'll keep posting stuff and keeping your interests, full with all sorts of editorial content for your surfing needs. With that said, I've got a nice lady up in the great state of New Jersey. Her name is Mag Krejza, and she's the senior architect at REDCOM, and they are a design build firm. So Mag, say hello to our listeners out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk from New Jersey.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me on the show.
No, pleasure's all ours. And where are you in Jersey? Because, North Jersey, South Jersey, they should be different states. Central. Okay. Whereabouts?
Westfield, New Jersey.
Yeah. I went to the Petty School, so I was exit 8 off the Turnpike in Hightstown. So way back when. No New Jersey Road. My mom was from Philly. My dad was from New York, and went to prep school in Central Jersey.
Yeah, we're in the middle of it.
Yeah, right in the middle of it, So here's how it's going to work. We do our interviews in 3 parts. You'll tell your story, where you grew up, where you went to school, and how you ended up at REDCOM. And then we'll go into our second, where you'll basically talk about lessons learned from the last 3 years of the roller coaster that we've been on. And then one positive thought or phrase and your contact info, and then we'll close it out. So with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
All right. So I was born in Poland, and I completed all my education, including my architecture school in Poland. And as my final treat after college, I decided to come to US, and it was just for vacation. But I was offered like a job in Lower Manhattan in residential firm, and I decided it's a great opportunity for me to start my career in totally different environment that I was pretty much know of. And I stayed there for like few years and never meant to stay, but that's what happened. Life happened. So I was working residential, high-end residential, which I loved. And after September 11 happened, very traumatic events. So I decided to, move to New Jersey, a little bit safer than New York. And I started working on like variety of different projects, like schools, public schools, a lot of commercial, residential. And I end up with REDCOM, which I'm here for over 11 years. And we do a lot of different, projects like religious. Most of our projects, we are like dealerships. So that's really our niche. But we do warehouses, we do religious, and that's pretty much what we do here.
Your English is really good. Did you learn English when you were growing up in Poland, or did you
Yeah, I was taking English classes, but it was mostly British. But
Yeah.
funny story, I thought I knew a little bit of English, but when I was on the plane to US and I was sitting with New Yorker on the plane, and he started talking to me, and I was like, I have no idea what he's saying. So the accent was completely different. But once you start working and interacting with people, you get to know the phrases. And so I never went to school for English in here, so
Well,
So,
that's
so I-
hey, listen, you got this, you got the twang, but it's nice. You actually have a little New Yorker, and you have a little New Jersey, and then you got your, your Polish accent in there. So it's it's a
mix
pretty,
of everything.
yeah, it's a mix of everything. So, well, what a great story. And listen, 9/11 changed a lot of people's lives. I was in New York.
Yeah.
I flew up the night before, ended up driving back, and
Yeah, I got stuck. I got stuck for the whole day. I had to take like a trains all around like different places to get home, and it was very traumatic. So
oh
that,
yeah, no,
yeah,
it I ended up, we were there for a show at Javits, and then that they closed, they got canceled, and it was a beautiful day in September, that on that day in New York. I mean, just beautiful, no humidity, a nice day. Anyway, I was there with a couple, I had a sales rep and a couple other people, and ended up uh got in touch with my office. Get me a rental car, get me a
yeah.
rental car. And then the following day, I stood in line. I think like it had to be 2 miles long. I think I got the last car in Manhattan. I ended up driving
Mhm.
back to Atlanta, and I still remember this till I'll remember this the rest of my
Yeah,
life.
nobody's gonna forget that
Well,
ever.
on my way, I went from New York to Raleigh, North Carolina. And right before we got off the highway, there was a New York cab with two guys in the back seat going down I-95, and in a New York, cab. And they looked and they were like, "Yeah, we're getting home." And I just looked at my rep. I'm like, "Oh, that I'll
Yeah,
remember that." And but uh, listen. I grew up in the city. I went to public school there, and it. New York, it's the
it
financial hub of the world, and
yeah, for
you know,
sure.
and it a lot. When I look back, shoot, I'm 60 years old, so I went through the oil embargo,
Mm.
18% interest rates in the 80s, and then the 90s, and then the internet. But I mean, I can look back at all the little things, and everything's, life is a roller coaster, just like.
It is. Yeah, you never know. Like my story, I never planned to stay in the United States. Then, I met my husband, and what was it, 20 something years later, I'm still here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about, over the last 3 years, March 2020, everything just went kaput. Here we are, basically 4 years later, almost, and we're out, we're out of the tunnel, but there's still some little, potholes here and there that we're all going through. Talk about how you weathered that storm over the last 3 years, and and as we go and finish up Q1 and going in for the remainder year, what your thoughts are.
So we were really lucky, actually. We did, we transferred to like a remote. Uh, uh, it wasn't really bad. Like we started, our IT department jumped in and set everybody up. So it was pretty good. And our construction jobs, they didn't shut down at all. So we managed to stay open, and we were moving forward. Like it was just inconvenient, not having those daily interactions, collaboration, and stuff like that. But we managed through and
Yeah.
stay afloat.
Listen, construction people, people don't realize that if your projects were deemed essential, or depending on what state you were in like here in Georgia, where I'm out of, just north of Atlanta, the construction projects just went on. They just had to take the safety protocols for the site. So people
There
don't
was
realize.
a little bit of downtime when we had to follow the quarantine,
Mhm.
but we stayed open, which was amazing. A lot of other companies, they had to close or reduce dramatically. So, but we did pretty good, considering looking back, we did pretty good.
Yeah, people don't realize though, like I say, like contractors, or your design build, but you're in construction, people just had to go on with their business and get on the planes or get wherever they're going and keep things moving. And they were almost, listen,
Yeah.
nurses, firefighters, police, and everybody that was deemed essential, they all had to work. Same thing with construction, because they, I talked to so many people that just went along with their business and had to deal with whatever regulations they were, depending on what state, and they were getting on the planes and having to, and just going on with their life. And obviously, depending on where you're at, determined how well or how effective your project was going to be.
Right.
In general, you were almost considered a frontline worker because you were just out there. So kudos to yourself. So as you made that transition, and listen, some companies turned on a dime like yours. Boom, your tech guys got you up and running, and so forth. As you've come out of it, what's your feeling as far as in your side of things?
I believe we still have some left over from that period. Like, we are a little bit more flexible as far as like working from home. There's more opportunities right now. We know we are set up to work from home, and just keeping work-life balance. I think it's important. We're fully back in office environment, but the opportunity to work from home remotely is still there. And I believe it's very beneficial to keep employees happy, and be at with their families as needed.
So with this month being basically, well, this week is basically Women in Construction Week and so forth. You being a female in the construction sector, do you still feel it's male dominated, or do you think it's women power? And
No, it's still male dominated for sure. But I can tell that I see a lot more women. Like 10 years ago, I didn't see any women like doing the actual construction work. Now, when I go to the job site, I can see carpenters, painters, women. They're definitely changing the whole dynamic of women in construction for sure.
Yeah.
And in architecture, like over 10 years ago when I started with REDCOM, there were only 3 females on staff. So, and I was the only architect. The other 2 women were administrative staff. So now we have engineers, female engineers. We have cost estimators. We have managers. So definitely huge jump from like 10 years ago and now.
When you go out on a job site, and even though it's still male dominated, do you get more respect, or do you think you can shoot the breeze with those guys and carry
Yeah, you just
yourself,
have
or
to like grow like a thicker skin, and you
yeah,
always have to like work twice as hard. That's what I feel, because you don't want to get like questioned and you don't have an answer. So I felt like I had to be prepared like a lot more than maybe guys would, but you just have to grow like a little bit thicker skin. Guys in the field, they have totally different relationships, and I managed through. Like I think it's if you have a passion for it, that's all that matters.
hey, listen, I don't care what you do. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, in the
No,
world.
New York was rough. Yeah,
So
it's so compacted and everything's like crowded.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So, and listen, just going across listen, New Jersey's, it's a pretty tough place too, and like I said in the beginning, North Jersey, South Jersey, but they're, listen,
Yeah, that's
it's that
definitely.
Northeast mentality, the tri-state, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, they all have that, they all have their own little twang, but
Hmm.
but in general, if you can make it up there, you can make it anywhere, as far as I'm concerned, right?
Yeah, like I started there, like right off the college with no English, no experience working, in United States. So I think I did something good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So talk about as you look back, uh what were some of your coolest projects that you've designed, managed, and finished, over the
So
years?
So we did, in New York, I did a lot of like high-end residential, which is nice because beautiful finishes and stuff like that. But in New Jersey, like one of the most memorable projects was Zoroastrian temple, which I didn't really know what entails, as far as the religion goes, and meeting all the requirements that supports their worship was like really interesting. I learned a lot, and I learned that Freddie from Queens was, member of the Zoroastrian church. So that was interesting, definitely.
Yeah. And so as with your portfolio and so forth, that, over the years, as as we move into the remainder of the year, do you see, constructions just, plugging along? I mean, obviously there's a labor shortage, supers, PMs, and that kind of stuff that we're trying to fill those job openings and stuff. Yesterday I was on a phone call with an engineer, and he said, "Yeah, we're looking to hire 75 people in all sorts of, at their firm." But I can't find them. They're just, those jobs have been open for months and months. Do you see that same thing, with your
Yeah,
own?
definitely. We're trying we are looking for architects, and yeah, market is really, really tough right now, but we manage somehow, and hopefully this is gonna kind of relax a little bit moving forward.
Sure, sure. The it, do you see any trends as from over the last couple of years as we move forward that you didn't see before in the design build side of things?
Um, mm, I think like because of the market being like so, I think things are more expensive right now. So I feel like, clients are more hesitant to move forward with the design because of the financial aspect. So maybe that's on the slower side, but it's better than before, right after COVID. So hopefully that's gonna stabilize like, soon. But I noticed the lead times are getting a little bit better. Before it was just crazy amount
Awful.
of time for
Oh yeah.
any type of building components. It was just like sometimes unachievable, like 6 months or to a year. That was just unbelievable. But it's getting better, so hopefully we can get off that curve soon, and things will move smoother in the future.
Yeah. My wife and I we're building our empty nester house up on the lake, and she's an interior designer, residential contractor, and we're going through the permitting process right now. And it's listen, I know it was a juggernaut, going into it, but uh, last Friday I had already turned in all my plans, my septic tank, my temporary toilet. I turned everything in, and I was my house was like right on the end of this cul-de-sac and along the main
Hmm.
drag. So the county on Friday afternoon, late, sends me an email and says, "Hey, by the way, you're gonna need. We decided that we want your address to be this, not what everything's on all your paperwork because you're on the
So
main
you have to
where your
change everything.
driveway is. Yeah, so you're gonna have to resubmit everything." And I had already done it, submitted stuff like over almost
Eh,
two and three
that
weeks
sounds
ago.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was like, "You're dropping this on me at like 5 o'clock on a Friday, and you couldn't have told me this right away." I mean, you knew you were going to change it, and but I just rolled with the punches, and right now, they asked me. I forget. I needed my grading plan wasn't,
Not sure. Yeah.
and but we're just
Yeah.
waiting. It's been a
Approval
learn.
process is definitely challenging at sometimes. So
Yeah, but they're all really nice. I mean, that's the
yeah,
one.
definitely.
Yeah, everybody I've talked to there, men, female, they've all want to be very helpful. But it's been an eye opener. I always, listen, I come from a construction family. My
Hmm.
family's been in construction since 1888. We were in demolition and recycling. We were in sustainability before sustainability was even a word.
Mm.
But
Sorting all the debris and.
Oh yeah, so we listen, when I turned 16, had got my driver's license, I had to work in the scrap yard every summer with my cousins and stuff. So I
Hmm.
grew up on the, down at the steel yard and the cranes and all that. But it as I look back, all those things as now I go into this build, we just want to get through the permitting process so we can knock down some trees and get going because uh once we and this will be our first new build from the ground up. Most of her stuff is bathrooms, basements, that kind of stuff that are getting renoed. But it's going to be exciting, and I know I'm going to drive all my subs crazy because I'm going to be asking, "Hey, why are you putting a 2x6 or a 2x10 there? Tell me about that, or what's that?" So I know I'm going to drive all those crazy. Once we get it dry and we get the roof on it and the wrap, then
Close
her
the envelope, right?
yeah, once that envelope is done, then her crew's going to come in. I'm not going to worry about anything. It's going to be all downhill from there because I've seen them all do great work. And but listen, right? Listen, I'm on the commercial side, but we all,
Hmm.
a lot of my clients, they all live someplace, whether it's a home, an apartment, or a condo, and I really dig, some of the materials that have come out that are just, mind blowing of what you can do with materials, and as long as you can get them, number one. But
Yeah.
it's really, really an exciting field to be in. And, design build is kind of you're kind of a hybrid because you're on that design architecture side, but you also build it. Whereas the typical contractor, they get the specs, they go in, and they go build it.
Right, right.
You kind of get the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah, it's more like a hands-on. You definitely uh, see a lot more. You develop, sometimes right now, a lot of architects, they kind of like design because they have that passion. But as I'm looking at, is it going to be like construct, are they going to be able to construct that detail that I'm like designing? And I have like a lot, you know, kind of construction awareness, I would say, because when I get to the site and my super is telling me, like, listen, this is not going to work. How are we going to build this? So for the future projects, I always think ahead. It's like, okay, this is going to work that way better and more efficient and from any aspects of the feasibility of that detail. So I like it. I like it. It's a faster pace. A lot is going on the construction. I get calls daily, like come out, take a look at this. So I really enjoy like design build. It's a lot more hands-on experience, I would say.
I have a couple of Polish friends that are local, and I've known them for a while, and they always say you got to come to Poland. It is like one of the coolest countries ever. The architecture is amazing. And do you think any of growing up in Poland and then coming over to the States, with that European flair, do you think you've taken any of that and applied it to any of your projects? Now that you're an architect.
I'm trying, but Europe, the whole Europe is like very like modern, and we here a little bit more on the conservative side, which it's still it didn't change that mindset yet. So, but I can see some movement towards like modernism a little bit more than before. So hopefully this is gonna change a little bit.
Tell me what's the picture behind you? What's that?
Oh, this is we have at REDCOM we have 3 conference rooms, and each room has different mural on the wall. This one is Rome. We have Paris, and we have London,
Oh,
which is
nice, nice.
yeah, just
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I look, so I like the mixture of old and new.
yeah,
It's just,
that's exactly.
yeah. My wife, we look at stuff every night. Just we're going through the budget and looking for stuff, and she's like, "Ooh, that would look cool," but then she'll find something. Oh, I'm like, "Where are you gonna put that?" She goes, "Oh no, I'll find a place for it." It's just it's nice to have old. I like people that you reuse old space, given it that modern flair, but leave that old architecture side of
And
things.
realize it, incorporate it into the design. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. I personally like German architecture, Bauhaus, all this natural materials and minimalistic approach to design. I just that's my preference as far as designer.
Yeah, sure, sure. So if someone wanted to reach out to you and they were thinking about doing a project up in the tri-state area, and whether it would be luxury, commercial, religious, whatever it might be, how would they reach out to you to touch base with you?
So we have a website, REDCOM Design and Construction. That's the first step, and also we have like all the employees listed there. So there's email addresses, but yeah, definitely that's the first step. And
Okay.
call us.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to throw your phone number out there or not?
Sure. My phone number is 732-522-3683. So if you need any help with any project, we're here to help.
All right. So listen, if you're out there and you're looking for a design build firm and you're up in the tri-state area, and you're looking for maybe a little different flair, Mag here is your lady, all right? And she'll definitely give you, she'll definitely give you a different kind of thing because number one, she's from over the pond, as well as she's been here and she's made it in the Big Apple, and now she's across in Jersey, getting things done. So and she probably looks pretty good with her hard hat on too. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hair is
Listen,
the problem always.
yeah, yeah. If anybody wants to reach me, I'm at David C at ccr-mag.com. And listen, Mag got on here. Her publicist sent me a press release. They wanted to get on during a Women in Construction, week that's going on. So I was like, yeah, let's get her scheduled. So look, send me stuff. Very tough to get in the magazine, but if you send me something, we look at everything, and if we can't get in the magazine, we post it up on the web. We send you the URL. It's good for your SEO, which is your search engine optimization. That's how Google finds you, and it's a win-win. And don't judge a book by its cover. Now, I always say this: look, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the lottery. So if you don't send me something, I can't get you on the podcast or get you in the magazine or get you on the web. And we look at everything. It could be an anniversary for your company, a new project profile that you've done, charity golf tournament, new product launch, whatever. We look at everything, and let us be the judge. So,
Okay.
uh, um, as we finish up, Mag, we'd like you to leave one positive thought or phrase with our listeners out there. What would it be
Mhm.
as we finish up Q1 and go into Q2 and the remainder of 2024?
So, women in construction. So, for all the women, if you feel you have passion for construction, I think it shouldn't stop you. If you think you're capable, just do it.
Yeah. Look, I'm with you. You know, we have I forget, maybe it was probably 10, 15 years ago. I had a lady come to me. She goes, "Why don't you have more women on your covers? You always have men." I said, "You know what? That's a good question." So I went
Mm.
back, I looked, and I said, "Wow, about half our circulation is female, and versus men." And little by little, and then we started doing a couple of women's events. So I always have a women in construction, column in the magazine, and when I look back from when we first started that, now everybody's got a women in construction. I think they all copied me, and that's I'm flattered. Copying is that's just that's a cool thing for people to do, put their own little tweaks.
Right.
But it was really an eye opener, and then it's amazing to see just on LinkedIn how many more women are involved in the sector. And my wife always used to tell me, I don't know why guys are designing stores because they're not out there shopping in them. It's mostly women, and they
Mm.
understand how the dressing rooms need to be, how the aisles should be, or the restrooms, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely different touch.
Yeah, well,
Having.
we're wired completely different. Men and women are completely different wired. So,
Mhm.
uh, so I've seen that progression, and now it's very cool because I've had guests on here where they're flooring installers or they're contractors or they're doing lighting. The possibilities are endless. And we just launched our student newsletter, so we understand about the job void in the States for skilled labor, whether you're going to be an architect, an engineer, a welder, HVAC tech, whatever. And we're trying to get in. We don't care if they're boys or girls. We want to get them, interested in construction, between that fifth and eighth grade level and maybe early high school before they get that thing where they're like, oh, I've got to go to Harvard or I got to go to Florida State where they've got this cool commons and the pool and all that. And we want to get them to go to trade schools because without there's so many people are going to retire if we don't get people in there. The construction,
Mhm.
it's not scary, but it's a big hurdle that we all have to look at. So we're excited that newsletter went out, and we want as many. Listen, any of you ladies out there, and if you have kids, talk construction, plant the seed, and one is more than zero. So if we can entice those people to come in, and hey, bring your brother along too. We can have him. He can slug some cement bags up or whatever it might be. So, well,
Yeah,
Matt.
definitely.
Yeah, Mag, pleasure meeting you. And
The same. Thank you
and
for having me here.
absolutely. And listen, everybody out there, you got the weekend coming up in a couple of days, and it is Women in Construction Week this week. So listen, if you see any women out there on the construction site, uh, give them a little kudos, and saying, thanks for working hard and dealing with all those guys and all that stuff. And a couple things before we finish up. Number one, if you are on the construction site, we want you to be safe. All right. Safety is the number one thing. We want you to get home, be able to see your kids, your husband, your wife, your partner, whatever, and be able to catch some Z's and go back and do it the next day. Number two, we want you to stay hydrated. Got to drink fluids. The springtime, summertime's coming. It's going to get hot. And when you're dehydrated, you get headaches. That's when accidents happen. That's the athlete in me. So make sure you stay hydrated. And number three, hit the like button. Okay, we want you to hit the like button so people can find this episode out on the web and hear Mag's story. And what a great story! Poland to the States, was going to just come and check things out. You're talking to a New Yorker on the way over on the plane, and here you are. You're still up there, up in the Northeast, getting things done in the design build community. Good for you! What a great story, So, with that said, everybody, have a great rest of the day and finish up Q1 on a positive note. And we're going to all go roll. And before you know it, it's going to be December 31st, and we'll be bringing in 2025 because the days are just blown by. Things are just moving at warp speed. So with that said, Mag, say goodbye from Central Jersey.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, pleasure meeting you. And if I get up there, I'm going to look you up. All right.
Sounds good.
Say we'll go check out one of your projects, and I'm going to sign off from Sugar Hill, which is just below the Buford Dam on Lake Lanier, about 25 miles, 30 north of downtown Atlanta. So with that said, we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Mag, awesome conversation. Thoroughly enjoyed it. All right.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend, everybody.
See ya.